Let's just leave this in.
Hey, this is Clinton and Hillary, and welcome to BlackLantic, a podcast and media channel bringing East Coast voices to the world.
This week, we'll be talking about the Black Halifax Film Festival, Radio Canada not wanting to use the N-word, but using the N-word several times on their show. A black hair product that white women have now been using that's sold out, and TikTok being up in arms about it, and a family separated while trying to leave the Ukraine from Fredericton that has been reunited.
Our podcast is weekly with guest or topics, and you can find us anywhere online by just searching BlackLantic.
And now it's your favorite part of the show. Sorry about the laughing at the beginning. I clicked record without letting Clinton know that we were starting the show.
That's all right. Let's get into it. First and foremost, we got an event coming up that's pretty exciting, and you should mark your calendars for this. It is the 7th edition of the Halifax Black Film Festival. And the flicks that they got lined up are something you really are probably going to want to check out. You know what dates it's going on from, Hillary?
I'm looking. But
February,
no, because thank you. I was going to say, 24th. I apparently need to log in.
All good. So in Halifax, Nova Scotia, February 24th to the 28th. Mark your calendars, hit up the Halifax Black Film Festival. I'm definitely going to try to be out there. It's going to be something to see. We know that you just did the Toronto International Film Festival red carpet interviews, Hillary.
No. I did the Canadian International Fashion Film Festival. Well, I'll get to TIFF someday. I will get to TIFF someday.
Still, I'm surprised they haven't offered you the invite yet to do the red carpet for this event. You know,
hey,
if anyone out there happens to be a part of this, you know, just plug Hillary, or maybe we co-host it. Let us know.
I would love that. We've been asked to co-host a few things if I could get there, and I really think we should take them up on that offer this year. Pay our accommodations, and we'll be there. Dynamic duo.
Let's talk about that. Or if you already have a host for 2023, 2024, hit up the BlackLantic hosts for the Halifax Black Film Festival.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah, check it out. All right.
Are you ready to start with, do you want to go big? Let's go big with Radio Canada.
Let's go big.
Let's go big. So I stumbled across this article and then found out that there was several articles going on that have discussed this content. Oddly enough, being like the articles are on CBC's website, which is Anglophone Radio Canada. So I thought it was a bit funny to find out through them. But the long story short, and the article I stumbled upon was that the CRTC was told that they had overstepped in response to the use of the N-word on a Radio Canada program, according to the Attorney General. The Attorney General filed a motion that ran over 100 pages to appeal the CRTC's decision, a decision that was made on June 29th based on a radio segment that aired on a show. I'm assuming since it's French radio, it would be called 15 à 18, which is basically, I'm pretty sure it's French for what they call happy hour in like France and French world. So it's a program that aired on August 17th, 2020, where host Annie Desrochers and columnist Simon Jodoin said the N-word 3 times in French, once in English. And all of this was about an on-air discussion about a petition that demanded the dismissal of Concordia University prof who had quoted the title of a well-known book that includes the N-word in the title. Now, somebody complained about CBC's use of the word, which is what led to the CRTC getting involved and saying that they did deem it inappropriate for the use of this word to be said online in full hard R 3 times English and nègre in French. And then 50 Radio Canada personalities signed an open letter that appeared in La Presse claiming that the decision threatened journalistic freedom and independence while opening the door to censorship and self-censorship. Clinton Davis, tell me what you're feeling right now.
Yo. You know how I reacted when you told me about this. And to be honest, I mean, we know families listen to this show sometime. We're not censored, but my initial reaction was like a big F you to the people who signed this petition. I mean, come on. Come on. So you're on a show reading the title of the book. Okay. The title of the book has the N word in it, but you say it 3 times in French, right? And then 1 time in English.
Reversed 3 times in English and
Okay.
1 time in French. And I would assume that if they've said it 3 times in English, that the title of the book is English, which means that they then translated the N word
Yep.
within
Yep.
conversation. Proceed.
So, I mean, saying it once, probably bad, but to say it 4 times, say the book title 4, even on a late night talk show when they're interviewing a book author, they don't usually say the book title 4 times. I mean, these people wanted to say it. They're having a heyday with it. And I mean, to say that it's affecting, uh, threatening the integrity, threatening the journalistic integrity by the CRTC asking them to apologize and remove the segment. I mean, that's a big FU. I mean, everybody there, you knew you were not supposed to say that word on the air. This is not an up for debate. This is not like breaking court case, which changes the course of society. This is not threatening journalistic integrity in any way other than the fact that what these people want to be able to say it on the air whenever they want. Bullshit. So the CRTC ordered them to apologize, and they did. They did. They apologized for the people they may have hurt by using this word. But at the same time, like you said, the attorney general, whose job it usually is to look out for these organizations, released a 100-page report saying that the CRTC was wrong. And I'm sorry, I don't know if there's a document outlining what journalistic integrity is or freedom of the press and freedom of speech. There probably is, but I don't think you're threatening that at all by telling people, even if it's on a book, even if it's in a rap lyric, you cannot say it on your show. And you knew this. You knew this. I use the word N-word in the show where I'm allowed to use the N-word whenever I want, and I do. But when you are reading your book, first of all, you could give a trigger warning if you're showing the cover, you could blur it out. And also, you can say out of respect, we're just going to say the title like this because, we don't want to offend anyone on the air. That's it. I'm actually more calm now than when you told me about this.
Absolutely.
But it's just 50 people like, come on, 50 I'm almost done. 50 people band together to say, like, "Yo, let us say the N-word whenever we want, dog. It's okay." Like, you know, women can't wear hijabs, and we can say the N-word, and it's all gravy, baby. Wild. Okay, wild. What's your
So, I mean, I have several thoughts. I want to point out in this CBC article that the CRTC said that they felt that Radio Canada did not implement all the necessary measures to mitigate the impact of the word, and also are quoted as saying it did not provide high standard programming, did not contribute to the strengthening of the cultural and social fabric, and the reflections of the multicultural and multiracial nature of Canada. And at the end of the article, it does say that the final decision is actually up to Federal Court of Appeal on what's going to happen.
Mhm.
What I find interesting is, of course, what is the premise of this entire story? That a professor faced backlash about the book. So then 2 white people covering the story thought that they could just go ahead and say the word that was causing the problem in the first place. Like, no forethought,
Facts.
no playing the tape forward, no thought of consequence or repercussion at all, because the whole crux of the story is the fact that someone is at risk of losing their job for doing what y'all just did. Are you dumb or are you stupid? Like, I can't get over how dumb that part is, first of all. But to your point and your little comment about gravy baby and hijabs, where is this happening? Montreal, where we've already discussed the influx of racially profiling by the police, even though they're basically being told that they can't. This law about wearing hijabs and religious symbols in the public sector, etc., etc. So Is it surprising that a government paid for news broadcasting system out of Quebec is like nigga, 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 negre? No. I don't think it's that shocking. I think
No,
it's
it's not.
disappointing.
The last thing I'll say is that you said there's no foresight, but we know that these shows, even if it's the same day or done on the fly, there's a producer, there's an assistant producer. They like prep the people doing the show. They knew the book they were going to talk about. There was some forethought. There really was. And yeah, I think we'll have to do a poll at some point asking, our listeners, like, where, like, Montreal versus Fredericton, New Brunswick, like what's more racist? We know
At this point, I think it's a toss-up.
we're not doing Fredericton today, but we have
No.
actually we're going to be having a guest, I think, from Fredericton.
Yes.
Who works from CBC in the future, who has dealt with some, like, we talked about Fredericton racism a lot last year, but yeah, looking forward to a guest in the future, but we'll tell you more about that later.
And I will have to look up at a certain point what the name of this book actually is.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. You do that. And
I officially am. Whoa. What?
See,
sorry, the title, and I'll say N-word instead of the N-word. No, I feel like I should say it for emphasis at this point. It's White Niggers of America.
Oh.
I didn't expect that to be the title.
Does that change anything? Hold on, does that make it okay? Does that make it okay? Wait, does it?
I need to pause the whole show.
Should we start over? Like,
wait.
Oh, white niggas.
Hold on. Yo, this is the funniest discovery. In 1968,
okay, is it talking about white people or black people? Okay, go on.
I'm on the way to finding out. It's about Quebec. White Niggers of America. The precocious autobiography of a Quebec terrorist is a work of nonfiction literature, so real, by Pierre Vallière, a leader of the Front de Libération du Québec. It was translated, and the translated title does have the N-word in French. Chronicles the history of French colonists of North America, first in the New France colonial empire, and then in British North America. It's about exploitation. Compares to some extent, the plight of these immigrants to that of blacks in American South.
What?
First of all, this is officially my favorite episode of the show because I haven't been the show.
I'm done. Yo, just press stop.
Why would we stop the show?
No,
this is the best thing that we've ever come across.
So, go ahead.
It's still bad. Now it's back to being bad. For a second, we thought, okay, you can say the title. But no, if you're comparing white colonialists to black deep south, that's bad. That's worse.
Is the author white or black?
White. He's white.
What? Who's the publishing company that let this happen?
You should see the title.
I wish we could screen share. Okay, we're not doing it this week because of all the technical difficulties we've had. Okay.
Oh my God. Vallière attempts to provide a historical depiction of one group's oppression by evoking the history of black populations brought to America, a comparison that is essentialist and insensitive.
Oh, shit.
So Goodreads here has like a whole... you should see.
You talk. I'll be back.
Okay. Wait, while you're gone, have you left yet?
No.
I'm going to send you the link so that when you come back, you can see what this man looks like. I need you to know what this man looks like. I will continue to talk about him. So, Vallière is a separatist leader. In 1971, he denounced violence. In 1972, he was jailed for 3 charges of counseling kidnapping for political purposes. Well, this episode has turned into like a historical... This is crazy. He started his activism with a hunger strike at the UN headquarters in New York to protest Quebec's plight. Oh my heavens. This is worse than I thought. Clinton has stepped aside because, as usual, we're having a technical difficulty, but I'm baffled at this. This is where I guess, like, we haven't talked about this in a long time, but I think it's obvious that as a podcast, we're both for the use of the N word only by the Black people in the world. Shoot us a message. What's your opinion on this? Do you think that the professor should have shared this book now that we know what it's about? Do you think that there he is? Okay, I don't know if this man was charged of kidnapping. He's part of the separatist
No.
of Quebec from the 70s. He kidnapped kids for a political thing and ended up being in jail. So the bigger issue now is the fact that this professor ever brought up the book at Concordia.
I'm looking at him.
Also, look at him. He looks like an incel dweeb.
He looks like a cult leader that like is probably gonna kill these white niggas anyway. Oh my gosh. Okay, you can't screen. No, okay. Well, my camera already messed up. I'm gonna I figured out how to come back quick. But like, should we not show his face? Okay, look it up. Don't look it up. But don't say it.
I can do it real quick. I can try to do it real quick.
Can a white person type it?
Can a white person type it? Okay, whoa, that's too many. Are you seeing the screen now?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Look at this man.
Oh, can we zoom in?
Also, here's the cover.
Okay, we're shaming. Like, I mean, he does. That's not a good cover.
And then let me figure out how to make this.
It's just a combination of. Okay, so at first, like, I was like I didn't when you said white niggas of America, I'm like, okay, is this book about that ignorant thing people say that they all got from Chris Rock or Chris Hart a long time ago? Like, there's
Chris Rock.
There's black people and then there's niggers, or some people are like, there's white niggas and there's black niggas. I call anyone from any culture nigger, so it's okay. But no, it's even worse. Okay, let us know what you think. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think in the comments.
That is what I was saying before. I was like, now that we know everything we know.
Are you reading White Niggas in America?
And should you be? I don't think that you should be.
You
know who'd read that?
They were just dying to put that book on the air. They really are like, yes, we've been waiting. We've been waiting.
Probably. It all makes more sense now.
Okay.
On to the next topic.
Okay.
Which I know more about because I'm on TikTok, I think a little bit more than you. And I'm certainly, although it is a hair product and you do own Le Salon Dieppe, but this topic has
No, you do it. I'll talk about the last one or the last two if we have time. Go ahead.
Or do you want me to split it up? I can split it up. I can tease and then go back. Do you want to talk about the Fredericton family?
No. Go ahead. Okay.
I can go ahead. Okay. So basically, as goes the plight of TikTok, people find something, they share it, all of a sudden it goes viral, all of a sudden the product is nowhere to be found, the price gets jacked up, it's not the same experience anymore. This is happening. You froze again.
I know, I'll be back.
Okay, bye.
Keep going.
I will. So this has happened with a product called Mealy, or maybe Miel. I would say Miel because it looks like it's spelled in French. But it is essentially a hair growth product that the Black female community has been using a lot. They've been using it for years. Some might call it specifically a black hair product. Then white women found it and unfortunately have sold it out all over the place. It was for sale for $10. It's a rosemary mint scalp and hair strengthening oil. Like I said, it was $10 by Amelia Organics. It's a black owned business. Black women were using it for hair growth, and until Alex Earl, who does very chaotic get ready with me makeup tutorials, shared it in her 2022 top Amazon purchases, and now it's sold out. And this article that I'm looking at by The Cut, a makeup blog that I like a lot, has brought up the conversation of, if we know that a product is good for Black people, should only white people be able to use it? Or should did I say the right race? If it's good for
No,
black people,
you
should
didn't.
black people
Yeah,
be
yeah.
should there be products exclusive to black people? Or if white people see black people using it, are white people allowed to switch lanes, jump on that bandwagon to the point of selling it out? As a salon owner who sells products for multiple races, people, all of the humans, what do you think? It's a
Okay.
toughie.
So this is not the first time conversations like this have come up. We've seen this happen with other beauty products in the past. We've heard people talk about cultural appropriation with using black hair products. And of course, we've also had talks about cultural appropriation, much more popular, about appropriating black hairstyles. Now, there are some valid points being made here. The idea of a product going viral, and then the black people who love and use and depend on these products not being able to purchase the hair products that they want to purchase in order to take care of their hair, which is very important. Like people of all cultures, hair has always been very important to people, especially in our culture. Hair has a number of deep cultural meanings. It can also be a source of pride and confidence. And as we know, during the Underground Railroad, even communication. So there's that. There is also the fear that due to supply and demand, just such as the way economics work, the price could be increased due to the manufacturer either capitalizing on the opportunity to sell their product at a higher price or needing to increase the price of their product to scale to meet the new demand for their product and be able to supply it to black people as well as everyone else who wants it. So those are valid fears. Um, we know from the story that the manufacturer, so there's also the fear. You may have said this while I was gone, but there is also the fear of when a different demographic starts to like a brand or a product, that brand may compromise, start to change their ingredients to attempt to appeal to the hair types of the people who are now using the products, thereby compromising the product to the people that made the brand popular to begin with. All very valid. Now, we know the manufacturer has said that they have no intention of changing the ingredients. It is made for a certain population or demographic, or let's just be simple and say hair type. So that's good. So during the initial panic and outrage, Rodriguez had not said that yet. And now she has. Now she's clarified that. So that does kind of put your mind at ease. But I mean, come on. I mean, the idea that a hard-working person of color created a brand, and then through a TikTok influencer was either, I don't know if it was paid influencing or marketing, or if this was an organic find, um, found a product that was amazing, featured it on their channel, and boom, made this shit blow up. Like, I get the fear of the situation, but how could you hate on someone for that? Like, that is the goal, that is the dream. Like, anybody can use a product made by a black person for a certain type of hair texture. I mean, if the product is not good for your hair texture and you're just buying it because of the trend, well, you still spent your money. You're probably not going to keep buying the product, and you made the business owner some extra money. I don't know what your take on it yet, even is, Hillary, but come on, people that are like, I understand it's natural to get fearful and anxious, because there could be the argument, well, then why don't these black girls just bulk up on the product so that they'll have it? Well, one, products do expire, and two, I don't want to imply uh, that black people may not be as economically set up to be able to afford these products as white people. I know there are a lot, especially in America, of well-to-do black people who are millionaires and make a lot of money. Like, even the whole issue of systemic racism isn't always about people being poor and disenfranchised, because even the richest of the rich still very much get systematically oppressed and face racial profiling. So no, it's totally okay for white people to buy products made by black people. Like, that's the goal. Like, like, it's not racism, but to say that people shouldn't be supporting black made products, There's no argument there. There's no base, like, no way. No way. More power to Michelle Rodriguez, for making an amazing product that people love and adore and want to buy, that have influencers promoting and marketing this product for them organically, which will lead her to success. I mean, I don't, the blood, sweat, and tears involved in building a brand from the bottom up. I personally know, even in New Brunswick, of many people who have started to try to create brands, who invested tons of money into it, dedicated their life to it, and years down the road, they have to give up their dream. Like, no, more power to this woman who has created a product that really works for black hair. I hope she continues to be sold out. Uh, I hope she sticks true to her word of not changing the formula, or if she increases the price a bit, I think that's okay. Uh, but more power to her. I hope she continues. I hope she can scale, grow, expand. I hope that the product is always barely in stock. And I hope she builds an even more gigantic brand to reach a greater number of people, and can possibly formulate new hair products for black people in the process. I'm fully behind it. I fully support it, even though I understand the initial fears.
So I think that the problem isn't so much white people buying a product from a black owned business as much as it's what you were saying about the hair type issue. So the thing, from my understanding, Alex Earl was not paid. It would like to add it to her Amazon list. If anything, she might have been paid through Amazon to feature products, but not paid by Michelle Rodriguez to promote her brand. It's more so, honestly, something that I'm trying to do, where you get an Amazon storefront, and as an influencer, you make commissions based on the sales through Amazon as a platform. It has nothing to do with the brands themselves.
Yeah.
That being said, so like the issue becomes that the other thing that is important for people to know who don't have TikTok and don't know about this trend is that rosemary oil on its own and hair oiling has been a trend. People are urging people to buy sprigs of rosemary and boil them, take the oil from the water in the pot, and like put it through your hair to stimulate hair growth and like follicle growth. So that already was a big trend within various communities. What then ended up happening is that people saw that this one had good reviews and went for it. The crux of the problem is what we're saying, that it was formulated for coarser hair, I think, by adding the mint. And so it had something about it that made it better for black hair types, coarser hair types, the more curly coils. And then one white creator shared it, and now the white community has bought it, and a lot of people are saying that it is too heavy for their thinner hair, that it doesn't actually work, that they're wrong. And so then that's fine. It's like you said, Michelle has made the money that she's made, and the black community will still have their product. But I do understand a little bit. Again, I don't think I even do edit a TikTok, and it's one of ours that has gotten quite big over time, of this white woman who was shamed by a black person for using black hair products in her hair that is just as curly as mine, and literally saying she was sorry she was appropriating like can too. And you can't appropriate product. You can appropriate culture, you can't appropriate product. It's not about what you're putting in your hair. Hair is hair. It is a part of your body. I think for black people, it's seen as an extension of identity and self. And I think for white people, it's seen as an accessory. But how you treat your hair should not be dependent on what company. You shouldn't have to do that much research. Who cares who made the product? It's not about that. I think it's about the affordability, the fact that it was never meant for that community, in the sense that it is based on texture, it is formulated for black people. And so for them to see it sold out is disappointing, when if you're just looking for rosemary oil to oil your hair, from my understanding, white people could just be buying rosemary at a grocery store and boiling it, and they wouldn't need this much more advanced, special formulated one. So I think that's the real problem. And I agree with that to a certain extent, that it's frustrating to see people learn about something that a community has sort of gate kept for a reason, and there being this whole like dispute about it, when then lo and behold, it doesn't work for you. And we were right all along. And well, ha 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 ha, but it sucks. I think it sucks. But I do think it amplifies a much bigger issue and conversation, which is, I wholeheartedly agree. You can't, a race can't own a product. It can be made for them, but you can't keep people from buying what they want to buy and doing what they want to do. And capitalism will always win. Even if she doesn't reformulate, good for her for making that money and selling it out so people could discover and learn. And now it's been a learning lesson for everyone. And Clinton has left again, but that's okay. I will say that I personally want to try the rosemary oiling trend, so I'm hoping that this gets back in stock because I would buy it simply to participate in the drama of it all. I would love my hair to be luscious and grow longer. I'm excited to see. Thank you, because I wasn't really sure what I was saying anymore, other than I'm going to end up buying the product probably and trying it. I want to try rosemary oiling.
Yeah, you should.
Ugh.
I totally agree. You can't own a product. And just to finish off, like, the elephant in
Yeah.
the room. Many white people have really curly, thick, textured hair.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah. And I'm sure, to defend all these white women, I'm sure their intent in trying the product was not to sell it out and make it inaccessible for
Yeah.
Black people to
I
purchase.
don't think white women were sitting there
So-
being like, we're gonna buy all the mealy and none of the Black women will have any. That wasn't happening.
So more power to Miele. If you want to check it out, find their website. We're not sharing screens today. I'm just barely getting through with my camera freezing. And yeah, I mean, that's the opinion. Like, drop your thoughts. We know hair is always a popular topic whenever we talk about it, and we want to hear what people think about that.
You're
Okay.
next with the topic.
Absolutely. So we're bringing it back to Fredericton, New Brunswick, and this is quite a story, actually. So, as we all know, in February of 2022, war broke out in Ukraine. We covered that last year, and we talked about things like Black international students being faced with racism. We did uncover the deep racial history of Black people in the Ukraine, and how there was a lot of hate groups and hatred towards Black people. We uncovered that Ukraine had a big history of racism, and while the entire world was reaching out in sympathy and help for Ukrainians, which was not the wrong thing to do, it was pertinent to acknowledge that some of these same Ukrainians that needed help were responsible for a lot of like racial atrocities in the country. We saw videos of people being threatened to be killed at train stations and stuff like that. But anyways, this is a story of a family from one of them was from Nigeria, and the other one, was she from the UK? Well, here, we'll get to that.
I'm looking now because I was also trying to figure that out because I was surprised at the trajectory. But yes, he's Nigerian. I'm trying to see where she's from.
My camera's frozen. I'm going to keep talking about the story and then I'll reset.
Sure.
So Shadrach and Faith Igogo with their 5-month-old Victor and their 2-year-old Ivan. During the war in the Ukraine, they were in the country. They started off by going to a refugee camp in Romania, and then they made their way to the UK. Now, Faith had already I believe, received her visa to come to Canada, either for work or to study, but her husband had not, and they had not yet applied for a visa for their son. She was also pregnant, and she knew there was another baby on the way, and she knew there would be difficulty getting to Canada in a timely manner. So they went to the UK for a little while after leaving the Romanian refugee camp. And here's the really interesting part. Because in the UK, they could not get anything like healthcare or social services or anything like that, they made the choice during the war to go back to Ukraine. So in the midst of the war, they went back to Ukraine. And, this is just surprising and shocking for a lot of reasons. Because here in Canada, we have never been victims of a war. We've never had a war in Canada. And we don't know what it's like. Because we know there's many countries that are war-torn, and people still have to go about living their lives for the most part. I think kids still go to school in a lot of cases. People still go to work. It's not like every square block is being bombed constantly, but a lot of people are being shot and killed, and there's military everywhere, and there's bombs blowing up and stuff like that. So they went back to the Ukraine with their family and to have her baby. And, eventually through the proper processes, and, I don't know the details of exactly what happened, but eventually they got the help they needed, and their entire family was able to relocate to Fredericton, New Brunswick. I think they started off living in a house with up to 20 other refugees. Now they have a home, and they're here in New Brunswick where they may or may not face their own unique set of challenges now that they're here. I hope we don't say that everyone that comes here has a horrible experience. I hope they have a lot of community support. I hope they are able to establish themselves and build a beautiful life for themselves. uh, Hillary and I do have some negative biases regarding that, and that's not the main part of this story. But wow, so they started off in Ukraine in war, went to Romania, went to the UK, went back to the Ukraine, because I mean, it actually makes, weirdly enough, given the dangers, I guess it kind of makes sense because they wouldn't get citizenship in the UK, they wouldn't get help or anything, and they had a family to support.
It says in the
And now
article
they
too,
are,
the problem was that they couldn't get the proper health care as tourists to be able to have the baby, but then she ends up giving birth in a bomb shelter in the basement
thank you.
in July. But
Yeah,
the whole reason is really because she wasn't going to get any kind of medical services anywhere else because she was a tourist. So
so
she had to
yeah.
give birth in Ukraine, but I doubt, expected it to be a bomb shelter. And then 5 days later, they do leave. Like the minute the baby is out, they do
I'm just
leave
trying to
and like
imagine.
flee.
Yeah, it's just so awe-inspiring. Like,
Yeah.
this is the kind of stuff you see in movies. Like the choices they had, and they're so happy. They're so happy now in the video if you watch it on CBC or anywhere else. Like, to make the choice with your wife, your child, and your pregnant wife and your other child to go back into a war-torn country where you could die, only to have your baby in a bomb shelter and then finally make it out to Canada. It's amazing. Thoughts? There's not a lot to like comment on other than the story, but it's just like, wow.
No, I mean, I'll comment while you leave and come back. I think that it's a beautiful story. I cannot imagine giving birth in a bomb shelter. I think that that must have been horrible, but I like kudos to them after they get the papers to flee. They to After giving birth, they come back from Ukraine. They end up going to immediately to Poland after that. Absolutely amazing, crazy story. They go from Poland to the UK to keep the baby safe, and then they waited to hear about their visa, and then they finally get to Fredericton. And they said that when they got to the apartment that they had near UNB's campus, the four of them, it was completely empty, and within 24 hours the apartment was completely full, but filled by members of the community. So I certainly hope that that welcoming nature that we've discussed so often with the systemic racism commissioner's report and other news articles, saying that we might not be the most welcoming to immigrants, refugees, post-secondary students who are coming from other places in the world. It seems to me like Fredericton was very, very welcoming to this family, and I certainly
Yeah.
hope that they stay, and that they continue to have a great time in our province and stay safe.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what that would have been like, but kudos to them. I hope someone offers them like a book deal or a movie.
Yeah, I could see that.
From Ukraine to Fredericton, and like 7 countries in between.
And of course, our heart goes out to all the people in Ukraine who have died and who couldn't make it out and stuff like that. We know this is a wonderful success story, but I don't know what it was like for other Black people, and I'd love to find that out one day. But if I could talk to them, I would like to ask them one question. Did you just hear a weird sound? Oh, I think that was me.
Yeah,
That
because it was just like if I could talk to them, dong. And I was like, is this Clinton's new like philosophy hour where we have there's like a chime goes off and you're like, I could talk to them for 1 second.
most great ideas have come across by accident, right? So we know that Syrians coming to the country and the province were not allowed to be given their license. We know that Ukrainians who came were able to just automatically like have it transferred over pretty easily. I want to know I want to know what their situation is. If you're
Yeah,
Black
being
Ukrainian,
Black,
can you?
British, Nigerian, Ukrainians.
Yeah, if you're Black Ukrainian, do you get your license? Do you? Is it like to be continued?
We'll ask. We'll find a way to talk to them.
Do we have time for one more story? What do you think?
we're at the 40
40.
minutes. What do you want to talk about?
The Halifax inquiry.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so in July of 2020, Kayla Borden was detained and arrested by 6 police officers because she was driving the same vehicle of a white suspect they were looking for that didn't have license plates. Now, I don't know if she had license plates on her car either, but I imagine she did. So she was detained and arrested, later released, but a complaint was made, and then there was later an inquiry into everything that went down. So Dan Kinsella, who is the Halifax Regional Police Chief, he was there, as well as Kayla's lawyer Andrew Go, and the lawyers of the 2 police officers. Now, even though a complaint was put in against 6 police officers, for some reason, when it was reviewed, uh, it was only allowed for the complaint to be made against 2 police officers. I don't know what the process was to eliminate the other 4 officers, because the 2 who the complaint was allowed to be made against were found completely cleared of any wrongdoing, and the other 4 weren't investigated. Um, so during this inquiry, it was asked by the board, um, if Dan Kinsella recognizes that there is a history of anti-Black racism in Halifax, and he did say yes. Systemic racism exists in all of our institutions. It's not unique to policing. He said that they take it very seriously, and they have a number of anti-Black racism courses that are voluntarily at the moment that will be made mandatory in the future, as well as a training course called Journey to Change. He did reflect that the content of the program is a reflection of 400 years of trauma that the Black community has experienced, and the likes. The Whaaaaat report did come up during the inquiry, in which it was proven that in Nova Scotia, Black people were stopped and carded and checked at an exponentially higher rate than white people, which led to, years ago, an apology being made to the Black people of Nova Scotia and a commitment to change. Now, they brought it into the inquiry, and then they kind of pushed it out, saying that it wasn't really relevant to the scenario at hand. It was disputed that no, it's ridiculous to think that this situation did not have to do with race. So it would be blind to pretend that race is not an issue in this arrest. Um, so again, the HRP hasn't been able to explain why Black people are stopped more exponentially than white people, other than to say that there's a lot of work to be done, um, and that they're committed to starting to continue to collect better race-based data. But um, the one thing that wasn't really and during this whole time, there was a protest taking place outside of the building, in which they were saying that Kinsella's racist. He needs to be fired. They're sick of all these racist cops. And so I don't know what's going on there. He did seem during the interview to be very acknowledging of the scenario, and that there's a problem, that changes need to be made. However, when asked, he's the chief of the Halifax Regional Police. He did admit that he never once it is his job that every accusation of racism comes across his desk, that he investigates it in detail, and reactionary measures are taken when needed. However, it doesn't indicate how often anything was done about these racist complaints. But the most shocking part to me was that when asked if he ever spoke to the officers who were accused in this incident, he said no. He said no. So it's his job. Everything comes across his desk, all issues of racism, all things like that. Yet he never spoke to the officers in question regarding this investigation. So to me, that is the big question mark looming over my head. Like, are you as genuine as you say you are? I don't know. We know that, racism in Halifax is nothing new. Racism, between race relations between cops and Black people are nothing new. In fact, racial tension between white people and Black people are quite prevalent, and I myself have had some really weird racist experiences in Halifax myself. Um, but yeah, so this thing that happened back in July 2020, there was an inquiry, but I don't think Kayla Borden got any justice. She did get an apology, and by the way, this article is by Matthew Byard, a colleague of ours who writes for the Halifax Examiner. And yeah, racism in Halifax with the police. Hillary, what are you saying?
Well, at the end of the article, it does say that like there is still more to be done in terms of that's like the in-person testimony is complete. Lawyers are expected to have their written arguments and replies submitted by early March, and then more decisions will be made about what justice is to be given. And I did read while you were talking about it the fact that the chief of police said he's generally aware of all of the complaints and was generally aware about this situation, but like sort of through media. And I'm like, so the news had to tell you what's going on in your own place of employment, which is the police.
And you're the boss?
Yeah, exactly. Like unsurprising on all fronts. I don't have a ton to say about it. Like not shocking from a Halifax perspective, not shocking that the police would do this, not shocking that this is happening to the Black community. It's really sucks. I hope that something would change, but considering the fact that they went from 6 to 2, and then those two sort of were told that they didn't really do anything wrong, then I'm guessing nothing is really going to come of this except for maybe some extra diversity, equity, and inclusion training that no one will really listen to. So like, I don't know. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, again, it's a story that we're reporting, and it's just, this is one of hundreds, if not thousands, of stories of Black people being treated unfairly, especially in Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's nice that there was an inquiry done. It's nice that there is an attempt to hold the people in question accountable. But just a reminder that this stuff is still happening. This happened only 2 months after George Floyd was murdered. And the truth is, if it happened now, it probably wouldn't get as much attention because, as we know, the sympathy and empathy towards the real realities of Black racism, even though hate groups are still on the rise, gets brushed under the rug. Just because media isn't reporting on it as much, it doesn't mean it hasn't continued to happen. We do hope the bar has been pushed slightly in the right direction towards equality. But again, just if you hadn't heard about this story, it's a reminder that this stuff is still really real and prevalent in Black people and people of color's lives.
I will point out too that what they say in the article is that the first person who saw the initial vehicle that didn't have the license plates or whatever, the one that they were looking for, he didn't say on the radio what race the person even was. And so you would think in a job where you often racially profile Black people, you might say this one was stolen by a white so that the people look for the right shade of human instead of just saying a man and then leaving it up to a guessing game of all of the different people and races.
Yeah, because there's only one of every model of car in Halifax, right? So yeah. So I mean, at least it shouldn't have happened. She got an apology, which may not have happened years ago. So I don't know if that's closure. It's probably traumatizing to be minding your business and pulled over and arrested by 6 police officers for doing nothing. But such is life. If there's any updates on this story, we'll post it on our social media feeds later on, which you can follow us anywhere at BlackLantic. And we're under an hour. We did it.
We've done the unthinkable, clapping, through technical difficulties and even adding extra stories.
We promised we were going to be getting better at this. And we're getting better. Yeah. We're doing it.
Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing. Consider rating our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. We would love to see 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. If you have 1 star, maybe just email us what's wrong and don't leave a rating. Let us know your thoughts that way. I'm Cropberry.
I'm Clinton Davis. We got to start saying this in the beginning, but yeah, please like, follow, and most importantly, if you're listening to this on a streaming platform in which you can give a rating, please, it means the world. Push us up a little bit in the charts.
Give us money through GoFundMe. And you froze. I thought you froze.
I ain't frozen. It's just the funny the way you say it. First of all, thank you so much to the donors who have funded us funded us through GoFundMe. You're helping to pay for our website. You have helping to have us improve the quality of the content that we are bringing. You're helping with marketing, and you have helped with us paying blog contributors. And the reality is we've had people agree who are coming on board to help us produce even more content, which is super exciting because creating Black East Coast media content is one of our pillars of our main goals. So before we get into the hour,
I was like, well, we screwed that up. I shouldn't have said anything.
Yo, we good. We're good. We're good.
We're
All
good.
right.
But thank you, everybody. Continue to
Cropberry.
support, and you support us, and that supports the community. This was Cropberry and Clinton Davis.
Play the outro. Play the outro.
Oh, dang it.
You're supposed to stop
Every
it.
time I click end recording, it tries to look up what end recording means. Thanks.